Okay, guys, before we start, I want to talk about two, three things that we will use when we are like working with Flutter animations. So first is this single ticker provider state mixin. So what this is used for and what it provides? Basically, it gives a vsync to our stateful widget. So it synchronizes animations with the device's refresh rate. So this is what it is like used for, and it is also helpful in lifecycle management, like automatically pauses animations when the state widget isn't available, things like that. And it also like prevents unnecessary animation calculations when when the screen is basically off. Okay, so the second thing I want to talk about is animation controller. So basically, animation controller are timekeepers, right? Think of animation controller as a stopwatch. Basically, what it does is its job is to track time and generate values between 0 and 1 over a specific duration. So let's say something starts at 0 and it will gradually end at 1, and you can also add things like duration, interval, and yeah, and obviously these controllers will determine whether the animation will forward, reverse, repeat, or stop. Now the third thing is animation. So animation is a smart container basically that holds a value that changes over time. Think of it as a box that contains different type of values, numbers, colors, and positions, but the content of the box keeps updating automatically. And the angle bracket defines the type of value it holds. It can be a double, color, offset. So yeah, and it helps in like changing. If it is a double, then it helps in changing the number. If it is a color, then helps in changing color, and offset helps in changing the position. So the fourth thing is Tween. So Tween comes in when there is a translator between basically Tween comes in as a translator between animation control and animation. So it speaks in percentage. Animation controller speaks in percentage, but you want a widget to grow from 50 pixels to 200 pixels, say, and color to change from red to blue. So the control Tween does the translation between that. So when controller says 0, Tween says 50 pixels, and when the controller says 0.5, Tween will say 125 pixels, and when the controller says 1, Tween says 200 pixel. That is the 100% value uh, of the end product. So you wanted to go from 50 to 200. So Tween does the math translation basically. Okay, so guys, I have created a list of Flutter animation components that I will be talking about, and first would be this animation controller Tween, animation controller and Tween. So yeah, let's first create a screen for this animation controller. We have created this stateful project. Import this. Let's see this. Yeah. Let's also provide a state mixing. Now, here are the three things, like three type of controllers that we need. So first will be animation controller. So then we can call it animation. Uh, okay, so now we will create a container to demonstrate how this like we will do the basically we'll do all the animations on our on this controller basically. So what we can do is let's give it a presentation. Let's give it a let's give it some height. Okay, so now I have created this container, and I have given this container some height, width, and color basically. So now what we are trying to do now, so basically we will have three buttons, uh, one for play, pause, and repeat. So what we can do is when the user hits play, this animation should start, and when the user stops pause, then the animation should basically pause, and for repeat, it will repeat the animation. So let's create our three buttons. Okay, so now we have created our three buttons, our container basically, and our all our controllers. So what we need to do now is basically define what the controllers will do now. So we can do that using, like, we can do that in our init state. And okay, so now we've defined our controllers. So our controller will have a duration of 2 seconds. It will start with the size will start with 50 and end with 200. So this is the basically size. So you can see here height and width of the container. So it will start with 50 pixels and end with 200. And this curved animation will basically give a bouncy effect, bouncy feel to this controller. We'll see when we like wrap this container to our animated builder and assign our controllers to there. So, and this color tween is basically very simple. You can see it will begin with colors dot blue and end with colors dot red. So so yeah, so when it starts it will be blue, and when it's end it will be red. Now change this. Let's change this to pause and repeat. Let's wrap our container with animated builder. This takes a filter. Okay, now okay, so now what we have done is we have wrapped our container with animated builder, assigned the animation controller here, and we in the controller in the container what we have done is like we have set this height to be equal to the size animation dot value and color to be color animation ka value. So what will it do is like jab you will hit the play button, right? So जब हम अपन प्ले बटन को हिट करेंगे तो ये कंट्रोलर फॉरवर्ड होगा. You can see here controller dot forward. So let's try doing that. Okay, you can see, right? And now what we want to do is say this as reverse. What we want to do is when we hit this button we want to basically reverse the animation. Let's hit it. Yep. So you can see this is how it is working. And if I say this controller dot pause, stop, I guess, yeah, stop, and set this to repeat. So when I hit this button now it will continuously start and start with this continuously basically repeat the animation. And now what we also can do is like set this reverse to be true, so that when it repeats it will not just move forward but also like in a backward manner. So yeah, now if I hit this, so you can see, yeah, and now if I pause it, yeah. So this is how an animation controller and Tween basically works. Okay, so now we'll talk more about animated builder and वो कैसे काम करता है. So yeah, I've created this animated builder demo screen here. Let's start working on it. So हम क्या करना चाहते हैं that we will have a basically a container in the center here, and we want that कि वो container continuously cir- circle में घूमता रहे basically. It continuously should rotate basically. तो उसके लिए हमको क्या करना पड़ेगा? So let's first create a container. Okay, so guys, we have created our controllers. Now we can do is wrap our okay, so guys, we have wrapped our container with animated builder and subscribed to this controller, and we have in init state. I initialized this animation controller and given this duration as 2 seconds. We can obviously increase this duration, but yeah, that doesn't matter because now to rotate this controller, there is a widget that is called transform that we can use, and transform basically does what it says. It transforms the basically transform the child widget. So we'll call it transform dot rotate, and it should take a it takes a key. Okay, and to angle, it takes something called angle. Yeah, so angle is required. So we will assign this angle to rotate dot value. Now we'll also have to initialize our rotate animation. So what we can call is animation, no, tween double second zero and end. So here I will be using basically I'll be first importing math library in Flutter. We'll import this and we'll call it math.py. Let's see. Okay, so now we have done this. So either we can create a button here that on clicking starts the animation, or on init side we can call it controller dot forward and just so this is how and also we can do is forward repeat basically. Okay, so now the controller is repeat. So this is how you can create a rotating container. Basically, we use transform widget. Okay, so uh, basically it transforms the child widget. So you can see creates a widget that transforms its childs. Okay, guys. So now I want to talk about something called animated containers. So animated containers are very useful and very like in this you'll not need any controllers, animation controllers as such. So these are very useful visit, and I want to talk about us like how it works. So yeah, let's start. Let's start. Can directly say animated container duration. I can give it seconds. Okay, now see. Okay, so now first what we can do is give it some width, height, and let's say 50, 50, and give it some decoration for the sort thread. Let's call it 150. So now what I want to do is I will define a boolean first is standard. Okay. Now what I want to do is when I double tap on this, I want to expand this container. So if you have seen a image in your galleries, so when you double tap it, it basically expands, and then when you again double tap on it, it minimizes. So I want to create that effect here. So for that, what I can do is I can wrap this with inkwell on double tap. I can say is standard. So now when I double tap on it, it should wait a second. Okay, yeah, I need to wrap this in set state, call it in set state. Okay, so now when I double tap on it, so this was an effect. This is a very cool effect, cool widget that you can use. Okay, guys, so now I want to talk about animated opacity. Okay, so let's create a demo screen for that. Okay, probably I'm having some issues. Let me restart the app. Okay, so guys, I've started the app. Now I want to demonstrate here how animated opacity works. So basically, what we'll do is we'll try to uh, hide a container. Let's first create a container. Okay, container. Let's give it a height of 100 with 100 decoration colors dot green. Okay, and also we will create a button. Let's call it. Okay, so we have created a button. Now what I want to do when I click on this button, I want to hide this container. So for that, what we can do is wrap our container with animated opacity. It takes a duration. We'll call it uh, microseconds 500, and it takes an opacity, right? So we can create a boolean here is hidden false, and we can use that here is hidden 0.0 and call it set state. Now if we click on this button, it should probably hide. Yeah, yeah. You can see this is how it works. Okay, guys, so now I want to talk about something called animated positions. So what we'll do, what it does is basically, let me show you guys. So you can click on it and it changes position. It's basically same type of widget as previous widget that was animated opacity. So what it does is like we have created a container here, and on clicking it we are changing it position from top to like here. Basically what we have done is like we have created this boolean just like the previous demonstration, and on tab we are changing the top and left position, and you can also add a curve here basically to make it a little bit bouncy. So yeah, that's what. Okay guys, now I want to talk about animation scale and animated scale and rotation. So it is again same like previous demonstration. So what it does is there are two buttons here, rotate and scale. So first what we do is define two doubles, rotation and scale, and we wrap our container here with animated rotation and animated scale, and we give the animated rotation takes something called turns, and we assign it to rotation, and animated scale takes scale and we give it to these two variables here. And on tapping on the button, the rotation, we rotate it to 90 degrees. And so yeah, let's see. You can see, and you can also have to give durations obviously. And on scale it will basically yeah, make it a bigger, make it bigger, basically make it scale. So this is how animated scale and animated rotation works. Okay, so guys, I want to talk about fade, basically transitions widgets a bit more, like how they work. And for that, let's create a transition demo. Um, so here we will be using controllers. Controller, and see. Okay, so guys, I've created three containers, and first one is fade, slide, and scale, and we want to create a animation here. That first, I mean, the container says fade, right? So it will fade when we, and we also create a animated button, animate button here. So let's just call it elevated button. Okay, animate. So what we can do is we will create yes, yeah. Okay. So now we have created our three one controller and three animation like fade animation, three animations, slide animation and scale animation. So first one will be fade animation, right? So let's wrap it with something called fade transition, and it will take opacity of fade animation, and then we can create we can wrap this with slide transition, position with slide. and wrap the third one with scale transition. Okay, so this we will have to now we wrapped our three containers with fade transition, slide transition, and scale transition. Now what we want to do is initialize our controllers. So this will be controller, and now fade animation will be Tween double again 0 and 1 dot animate controller. Similarly, we can call slide animation. We will say offset. All this. Begin offset. Okay, so we want this container, basically the middle container, to go up. So it will start with 1 and end with offset, or say we can directly call it 0. I guess no, offset 0 0. And for the third one, scale animation, we want to begin with 0 and end with 1. Animate controller. Now what we can do is say controller dot forward. If we go to our, so this is what we need to create. And there is one more thing that I want to show you. Say that controller dot status is equal to animation controller dot animation status dot completed, right? So we can call it controller dot reverse. So if we click on this again, back, forward reverse, this should work as fine. Yeah, so this is how it is working. Okay guys, so now I want to show you a page transition, how to like create a custom page transition. So for that, let's create our one page here. App bar, let's call it title second page. Okay, and if we go to our animation list here, so what we want to do here is basically like when we click on it on this custom page transition, basically the second page should open in a animated way. So for that, what we can do is call navigator dot push, and here call page route builder. Page route builder takes context, animation, and call it second page. Okay. But now here is something called in now in this page builder. If we click on it, basically it will open the second page, but no animation is happening. So in this page builder, there is something called transition builder, and it it will create a basically a transition animation for us. So we can have a fading transition. Opacity can be animation, and child can be scale transition animation. So if we like click on this now, it should something is happening. Okay, yeah. So we'll also have to give child here. Now if we click on it, it should, yeah, you can see it is opening in a animated way. Okay, so now I want to talk about hero animation. So hero demo. So what is a hero demo? What is a hero animation basically? So it will create a smooth transition animation while navigating, and it will seem like a widget is flying to another screen. So that is what a hero animation is. So for that, what we will have to do is create two screens. So let's call it hero 2, and we'll create same widget on both the screen. So on body, we can say container. Child, we can give icon, dot gallery, game controller, yeah, and give it a height 100, width 200, decoration. Now, if we click on this, it's not looking that great. Now, if the user clicks on it, it should navigate, right? And we can call it on tap navigator dot push material page route context return 0 2, and we can create a similar thing here. Remove this inkwell, make this a bit bigger, and wrap both the containers with something called hero, and it will take a tag. You can call it hero tag, Now if you click on it, you see it looks like the same widget is flying, right? So this is how you create a hero animation. Okay guys, so now I want to talk about animated lists. So what are animated lists and how it works? Let's see. So this is our animated list screen. So what we want to do is first create a list of items here for us. So we'll create a list of string and we call it items. And we want to show there is something called basically animated list that we want to use here. So let's call it here. And we want to show a animation here, right? So we'll create a build item here. So what will be this build item? So I'll just copy paste here. We have already used slide transition, so so you can add position. I'm adding a position directly here. So uh, 1 to 0 basically it is that it comes from left to right. So let's call it build item. Items can be items. And you get to see these items. Now I want to create add and remove functions here. So what these will do is basically add item and remove item. So for adding an item, what you can say is final uh, index list. Start from here. Have a key here. That will be list key and takes it will be a global key, animated list key. So we'll say list key dot current state add insert item. So at this index, will insert an item and this will update the this list basically. So let's call it here. Now if we click on it, you can see it comes from right to left. Now for remove, right? For remove, you can say final index items dot length -1 and remove at same list dot list key dot current state remove item, and you will have to create a builder here. So it will say context animation turn our build item just like this. We click on remove first. Okay, so we are so this remove basically calculates the last item index, then remove items from that index on that index, remove the item on that index, and basically what it does, it changes the state of this animated list using this list key. So yeah, like this, remove all. Yeah, so this is how an animated list works. Guys, now I want to talk about this very cool package uh, called Flutter Animate. So this is a very cool library that you can use to also like do animations on different widgets basically. So yeah, you can see here there are many different examples here. You can see, and it is very simple to use. See, so we'll try to import this package and kind of play with it. I'll call Flutter for bad Flutter, and I will rebuild this. Now our page app has rebuilt. Now let's go to this Flutter Animate and let's start looking at some of the animation that it offers. I'll call center child column and center and children container. I'll copy a container from this transition demo. Mm, I need to copy some cool container. Yep. Okay, this. Okay, now we have a container here. Now what we can do is call animate and fade when. Give it a duration delay. Duration second. 3 seconds. 500. Okay, so you can see fading in is so easy now. Similarly, there is something called fade out in this. I mean, there are a lot of things. This fade out. Seconds too. Now it will go away. So instead of using that animated opacity for hiding anything, you can use this. And also let's go to here and see some more things. There is something called shake, so we will do that. So, and we give it we call it shake X. Now maybe there are too many things here. Rotation. What does it take? Double. Say 360. Okay, cool. We can also call interval, I guess, or duration. Duration 1000. Okay, so there are too many things. We can also assign a controller here and do our custom animation. Okay, so I want to do one more thing. I want to create a container. Let's create similar something like this. Let's say uh, let's give it a padding itself. Margin piece, and I want to make this look like a card. So I'll call this 4 for this. 50, make this 30. Create two of them. Create this in a column, and I want to animate this column itself. Scale in uh, slide slide X. So dot bounce in. So, and I will give some duration here. Seconds 1. Ease in. So if I Whoa. So instead of using animated list, you can also use this slide. So this is basically how you use Flutter Animate package. It is a very cool package. You can also basically uh, explore on your own. Now I want to create a flip card animation using all the things that we have seen here. So for that, let me just build it. Copy this from here. Okay, we don't need this. We don't need transform alignment. We can call it alignment on center, and we'll have to now create a matrix. So what is a matrix? Let me show you. So basically what matrix 4 will do is create a matrix like this of basically 4 into 4 4 by 4 matrix it will create. And then what we can do is basically use the rows and columns of these to rotate the card. So you Now we can hit and initialize all our controllers here. So when we click on this button, it flips the card, and you can call it flip card. And in this, call set state is flip. And if it's flipped, then we can refer. Okay, so we created this flip card function that, and on tap I will call this flip card. But one more thing, guys, we will have to create a backward and a forward view here. So for that, what I can do is say forward copy this and backward. I can change the color here, red, and instead of this we can say is flipped back, yes, forward, and we can remove the center. So on clicking it, it is not okay. Yeah, so and also to make this animation work, we will obviously wrap this with animated builder. Have assign like subscribe our animation to here, and yep, it works. This is how you create a flip card. You can use this to create flip card info buttons, to have something on the front side and have info descriptions on the backward side of it. I will leave a demonstration what I'm talking about